Bella Vista Community Television presents Bella Vista and Beyond. Today our host is JB Portillo, and we will be talking about Big Brother, Big Sister, and a special guest. And now to the studio for our program.
Good morning, everybody. It's JB Portillo here with Bella Vista and Beyond. And boy, do we have a couple of great surprises for you today. My first surprise is that I learned to say my guest's name properly. This is Jennifer Janda?
Yes.
Wow, I'm all right. So tell me about Jennifer. Give me the cliff notes about Jennifer.
Sure. Well, I moved here about 4 years ago and got connected with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and we're a nonprofit youth mentoring organization here, so I spend a lot of my time on that, and I find it incredibly rewarding. And when I'm not at work, I love hiking and kayaking, so I feel like Northwest Arkansas is the perfect place for me.
Oh, it certainly is, and I think you just moved into a new house.
Yep, we got a place out of Beaver Lake. It's a little cabin, but it's right on the water, and we have 3 kayaks, so I'm happy as can be. My son put us on a bed of bluegills last night. We were catching fish left and right.
Fabulous. And you love plants.
I do. I love to garden.
Yes.
Yes, I have a lot of indoor plants, and now that I have a new house, I'm looking to put all the flower beds in.
If you ever need any help, don't call me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm there. My heart's with you there. I love that myself. So tell us about, let's inform the audience about Big Brother, Big Sister. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of it,
Right.
but I'm not sure everybody understands it.
Absolutely. So we're a youth mentoring organization, and we partner kids one-on-one with a caring, supportive adult. I have a 13-year-old son right now, and I know there's a lot of things I can tell him, and he's not going to listen to me. But if someone else says it to him, then suddenly it makes sense.
Right.
And so we're coming alongside parents and supporting them and helping lead these kids in the right direction, being that positive influence. A lot of times they might have questions they don't want to ask mom or dad, and we don't want them asking other 13-year-olds at school because we know 13-year-olds don't know anything. And so we want to be that guiding light and just help empower their potential. For Northwest Arkansas, we serve kids in Benton County and Washington County. And our kids are between the ages of 6 and up through they graduate high school at 18.
So the qualifications to be part of the program on both sides?
Sure. So for our littles, usually a parent or a school counselor will say, hey, I think this would be a good program. The number one thing for our kids is they have to want to be involved. We don't force children into this. So they say, yeah, I want to be a part of this. I want to have someone to hang out with, go kayak, ride bikes, go to the Defy Gravity parks, things like that. So they have to start in our program between the ages of 6 and 14 and commit to being in a relationship with their big for at least 1 year with the hopes that that match lasts longer.
So what about the qualifications to be a big?
So our bigs are, and we always need bigs, they have to be 18 years old and out of high school, and we have no age cap on the end. Our oldest volunteer is in his 80s, and he and his little play tennis every week. And again, we ask that you commit a full year to the match with hopes that it goes longer. Child safety is always the most important thing in what we do. So once a volunteer says, hey, I'm interested, they have to go through a training session with me, and then they have a one-on-one interview with another member of our staff, at which point we'll do a background check.
Yes.
We'll call your references. For some of our volunteers, we even do fingerprinting, and we check your driving record. Again, always just to make sure child safety is our number one concern.
Yes. Yes. So I believe I met you via phone, I think, not too long, a couple months ago, and you were then trying very hard to find somebody here in Bella Vista for a young man. And I think you told me you found that one.
We found one. I have one more. His name is Andrew, and he's a preteen. Loves to be outside, loves to ride his bike on the trails. And so we really need a man. We need a big brother to step up and say, yeah, I've got time and I want to be involved in someone's life. He'd love to go fishing. He'd love to ride his bike. But we also have kids in Bentonville, Rogers, out in Pea Ridge. So we have a need if you're willing to drive a little bit further. There's always a need for kids in this area.
Okay, so let's start. We'll do it a couple of times, but if they want to help, how do they contact you?
Sure. The quickest way is through our email. It's enrollment@bbbsnwa.org. Or you can go to our website. There it is right there.
Yes.
Or you can go to our website, and that's also bbbsnwa.org, and just click Be a Big. And as soon as you click on that, it goes right to me, and I'll contact you, email, text, phone call. I'm pretty persuasive.
I can imagine.
And so I'll reach out to you and talk to you about your interest and just get you on the path to getting enrolled.
Excellent. How many are you allowed to even say that? How many littles and bigs do you have in your organization?
We have 205 active matches right now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And we've got about 32 children waiting on our wait list right now.
Goodness.
That's actually, I know it sounds bad, but pre-COVID, that number was over 80. So I think COVID actually helped us a little bit. People got home, they stopped working all the time. A lot of us readjusted our priorities and what we wanted to do in life. And so we had a lot of volunteers step up and say, you know what? I have the time to do this. And now that it's become a habit and things are getting back to normal, I'm so thrilled that that's already part of their life. It's not adding on, that's a priority for them.
Yes. So are these children of single family, single parents, or?
We serve all children. The majority of our kids come from single parent homes. So the majority of them, it's single working moms, and so she's working all day, sometimes at night, trying to feed them, trying to get them to school, do their homework. And so sometimes those extra things aren't happening. Let's go to the dog park for an hour. I have a very supportive partner, and even he and I sometimes are like, it's struggle to get the fun in with everything else, all the other responsibilities. And
Sure.
So our kids just need someone else. And a lot of our kids just lack opportunities or experiences of some kind. We had one child, he really wanted to learn how to ride a bike, and he was being raised by his great-grandmother. And so she just didn't have the physical energy to run behind and hold onto the seat. And so things that you and I might take for granted. One child had never been to Waffle House. And I was raised in the South. Like, Waffle House is
part of your vocabulary.
It's standard, right?
Yeah.
So it was shocking to me. What do you mean you've never been to Waffle House? And so that was a big treat for him to go out for waffles with his big.
It sounds like just the simplest things, just the everyday things.
Absolutely. We always want this to be, it's free for our families to be involved. We don't charge our children anything. And our volunteers, we really want to keep it low cost, if not free, because it's all about the experience and the time together. It's not about money. And so we encourage doing things like go for a walk in the park, go to the dog park, go play some arts and crafts at home, or bake cupcakes or cookies. It's not about money. It's not buying new shoes for someone's basketball game. It's about going to their basketball game and cheering them on.
That makes perfect sense to me. It really does. So, anything else you'd like to say about Big Brother, Big Sister? Because I want to talk to you about some of the other things you do in a minute.
Sure. Well, I'm really proud of the organization, and we've worked hard to really meet the needs of kids in our community. So we do still have about 30 kids that we need mentors for. So if anyone feels compelled to volunteer, we would love to have them. We do accept big couples and big families. So if you want to do it with your partner, you can.
Okay. Okay. Has it always been that way?
Yes, we don't kind of advertise it as much because we focus on the one-to-one. But I find a lot of men have the heart for it, but they're a little nervous, right? They think, oh, I'm not good enough. And so when their wife comes with them, suddenly they're like, oh, I got this. And we have quite a few big couples, especially in Bentonville and Rogers, that it's a couple, but the man, he's the one who plans the activities. They're the one going fishing. And then, they might have a cookout on a Friday night where the wife is there too. But I think sometimes they need that support and that encouragement to get involved.
Absolutely. Well, we just have a few minutes left, but you are so interesting, and I just feel like I'd like to get to know you better. But you have several hats you wear.
Yes, I am the PTA president for my son's school in Springdale, Don Tyson School of Innovation. My son is in Boy Scouts, so I'm the advancement chair with their Boy Scout troop, working on getting the boys through the ranks and getting their merit badges. I'm a merit badge counselor, and I teach gardening and nature.
Imagine that.
Because those are things in my wheelhouse that I know how to do.
Yeah.
And I'm the merit badge counselor for journalism because I spent years in TV.
And you're 130 now because you have all that experience, right?
Some days at the end of the day, it feels like it, yes.
Well, I tell you what, you are a very interesting person, and I tell you, I love what I do because I'm always running across folks like you, and that networking.
Yes.
I will always remember you now, and I will always remember what you stand for.
Well, and I'm going to be reaching out to you for where I can get my hands on some native plants for my garden.
Stay tuned. I can do that in many ways. I'm a master naturalist and a master gardener, so we'll talk later.
I love it.
Okay. Well, I think that it's probably about time to go to break.
Perfect.
So let's do it.
Welcome back. Here is our host, JB Portillo.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. While we're waiting, I have a very special surprise for you here in a few minutes. But right now, I want to remind everybody that the Bella Vista Business Association is having their first business fair this coming Saturday at Reardon Hall out in the parking lot. It'll be an outdoor business association where you can come and see everything that's going on with all the businesses in Bella Vista. So try to be there. It'll be from about 9 to 2, I believe, and you can get out in the fresh air and check on all our businesses. I wonder where, oh, what's that all about? What do you think? Look who's here! It's Mark Twain! All right, Mark, have a seat. Wow.
You know, I got to tell you, I see this American flag over here. You probably know that I ain't an American. I'm
not.
the American.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know what? You never know who you're going to meet here in Bella Vista.
No.
And I am just so happy to know you. So I know you're here today as Mark Twain, but I also know that you have a regular name when you're not being Mark Twain.
Yeah.
And that is?
Yeah. Well, Samuel Clemens to begin with.
Yes.
Of course, Mark Twain came from my riverboat days, and it's quite a deep subject. You see, we used to cast out a line with 3 yards long, and it was a quarter Twain, half Twain, Mark Twain, and that's when it was deep enough to turn the paddle wheels on.
Gotcha.
So they didn't get caught in the mud.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I thought maybe I'd come here today and tell you a little bit how I got started doing the Mark Twain.
Please do.
Yeah. Back in January 14th and 15th in 2002, they had a Ken Burns special on TV. It was about Mark Twain. And after watching that, went over to my friend's house and they said, you know, you look like Mark Twain. So that's how this all kind of started. And then we went to a pancake breakfast. There was out of 100 tables. They sat us down next to a couple that was from Hannibal, Missouri, Bill and Rose Geisen. She says, yeah. She says, I'm from Hannibal, Missouri, and you look like Mark Twain. So that's kind of how it started.
Gotcha.
And then they belonged to the senior center, the Lilac Ledge. They invited me to do a show over there. It was my first show. And that was showing on the Speak Out over there.
Oh yeah, I think we have.
Yeah, the Waukegan. It was in the Waukegan News Sun and made the front
board.
page. And I had previously been down to Hannibal on the 4th of July. My wife got ill, and we went down there for a little trip to get some R&R. And I walked in a little Mississippi mall, and I bought a bow tie for $1.50, and I put it on. I walked out, and people came up, "Oh, may we have our picture taken with you?"
Yeah.
And I didn't have any Mark Twain clothes really at the time. I had a seersucker suit. People asked me if I was the mayor of the town. Yeah, but
There we go on the screen now. Here's the thing about
yeah, that's
the
Rose
Speak Out.
Geisen, and her husband's name was Bill Geisen. And this was in Waukegan, and then we went down to Hannibal, and they came down there and lived down there again. They've, of course, since passed, but they're really nice people. They gave me gifts and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
and introduced me around.
Yeah.
Then I met the public relations director for the tourism over there in Hannibal, and they invited me to be in the 4th of July parade. And when you know it, Peter Jennings had Holidays Across America, and they had ABC films down there, and they filmed me. I was on national TV the first time I was in a parade down there.
That's fabulous. How long did you live in Hannibal?
14 years.
Yeah.
We had a theater there for a while. Yeah, and I met lots of people. And there was a picture over there of Ken Burns. He is an author from Hannibal, Missouri.
I got
And
you.
I was on television with him. And he wrote Mark Twain of Life, a big thick book, Mark Twain of Life. And he was on the Ken Burns special.
Yeah.
And then he also did, he co-authored a Ted Kennedy book.
Gotcha.
And he's on the Facebook now. I find him on Facebook. We find everybody on Facebook. In fact, you can see some pictures of me on doing the shows over there for the McDonald County Historical Society.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they have a lot of nice pictures. I looked through there last night. Yeah, I need that. You see, greatness may be classified as ability to win recognition.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it was fancy meeting you with the flowers, and then all of a sudden it turns out here you got your television show, which I was on in 2014 with Milt Franzo.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, Village Highlights, and Milt did a heck of a job. And
Milt is a wonderful guy. We miss Milt a lot.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'd like, if we could, for people to know when you're not being Mark Twain, your real name is George Scott, correct?
Yes.
And you know, you started to tell me the other day you are from Croatian descent.
My dad was an immigrant from Croatia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then my mother was German and English, Stolzmann and Sage. And Fanny Sage was my grandmother's name. And Mark Twain was friends with Dean Sage, Russell Sage, and one other Sage. And Russell Sage has 3 or 4 Fanny Sages in his genealogy. And I was going to talk to you about maybe they could do my roots, and I might be related to friends of Mark Twain.
Well, you know what? I think it was destiny that you're here today and that you do what you do. But you were telling me that in your younger days when you were working, you designed a lot of equipment?
Yeah, machines, products, gifted. And unlike maybe kind of like Mark Twain, he quit school when he was 12.
Yeah.
And I went 5 years to high school because I'm dyslexic like Henry Winkler. I'm dyslexic, I can't remember what I read. I have remedial reading, all that. But I was gifted mechanically and problem solving. So that got me into, I did drafting, design work, design machines, and for Bradley Wash Fountain, I designed a swivel toilet that goes in a vanity, and they used it in the ER units. They used to use it in the hospitals because the hospitals had that washroom between the rooms, so that took up space in the hospital, so they put the vanity, and people that were well went down the hall, and otherwise they just opened up the vanity that had 2 wrist handles, had a sink up above. So I was gifted. I worked with other engineers, and some of them were jealous because of the stuff I did.
You were gifted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lived in Milwaukee. Well, like Steve, I lived in Waukegan, and I worked in Glenview at a time. I was a designer, machinist, I'm sorry, over in Glenview, Illinois.
Yeah. You love plants?
I'm sorry?
You love plants. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
this about
Plants and animals.
And you like animals too? Okay.
Yeah.
Even two-legged animal? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, dogs.
Yeah.
I've met people from all over the world,
Yeah.
and the more people I've met, the more I like dogs.
I know, me too.
50% of the dogs are nicer persons than 50% of the people.
I know.
And if we went to heaven by merit, the dogs would go and we would stay.
Yes.
And you know how to tell a dogwood tree?
You're going to tell me.
By its bark.
Oh my goodness.
And
Okay.
its bark is worse than its blight.
You're funny.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got a great yard, by the way. I mean, all of us right now are fighting weeds like crazy, but you've got a beautiful view from your house. You've got a great backyard. And the fact that you, most of your plants were like given to you or from family.
Yeah.
And
It's a friendship garden.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I brought some. I have those Japanese quince from when I was a baby.
Uh-huh.
They came from next door, and I keep on, every time I move someplace, I plant more and divide them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fabulous.
and I have some daffodils this lady gave me.
I wonder who. He is now the proud owner of the Bella Vista Daffodil, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just added some daylilies, and I have to get some more.
Okay.
I cleaned them out in Bentonville.
Gotcha.
And you have a sale coming up for your garden.
We do this next weekend. So did you sign up, I hope?
I hope so.
I hope so, too,
got it.
because I think
somebody emailed me that.
Somebody, well, they will. I think we have like ridiculous amount of daylilies. So you can
Really?
get as many as you want.
Oh,
yes,
boy.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, do you have some shows coming up here locally and at
Well,
all?
I had some, but the virus killed a lot of them. But I've got a new one coming up with the 28th with the McDonald County Historical Society.
Okay.
They want me to open and close the show, sort of.
Okay, good deal. And I think the Bella Vista Museum may want you to do something later. You know what? Let's put some information up on the screen to, you'd be willing for people to call you, correct? And book you for some things?
Alan, what's Steve over at Allen's?
Morrow?
He has the smallest 4th of July parade in the world, I think.
Oh, we're there. We're going to be there
I'm
filming
going to be there too.
Good.
And he said, did they let you speak? And I said, no. He says, well, next year, he says, you got the floor.
All right. Well, we'll be there. Our crews will be there. You hear that, camera folks? We're going to go do that. It'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Togetherness.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got a great little group here that you work with.
Oh, they're fabulous. And, you know, we have somebody brand new that, she's kind of new, but she brought her daughter today. So what did we do? We stuck her daughter right on the camera.
Wow.
I think it's amazing, the kind of volunteers we have.
Yeah. I don't know if you know it or not, but I was born in Florida. Yeah, Florida, Missouri, which is about 30 miles west of Hannibal. Yeah, I didn't move to Hannibal till I was 4 years old. And I don't know if you knew it or not, but we was twins.
And,
Yeah, well, I was a twin. We
and
was
you're
twins.
talking, you're
Yeah.
in your Mark voice now. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
We was twins, defunct and I, and we got mixed in the bathtub when we was 2 weeks old. And when my mom turned her back, one of us drowned. But we didn't know which one it was. But I'm going to tell you good folks a secret that I ain't told no one else before. One of us had an identifying mark, and it was a mole on the back of his right hand. And that was me. And that's the child that drowned.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, very, very sad and tragic story. As a matter of fact, I had a very tragic life. And unfortunately, some of it was true. Yeah.
What's your favorite memory of Hannibal?
Oh my gosh. Mark Twain, one of my favorite quotes is, kindness is something the deaf can hear and the blind can see. And he was friends of Helen Keller. There's pictures of him with Helen Keller. I was down, what was it, 208, 206 Hill Street in front of the Boyhood Home. And this lady comes up, she says, can I borrow you a minute? She says, this other lady's my friend, and we're taking care of these two gentlemen. One of them's deaf, and the other one's deaf and blind. And I get goosebumps just thinking about this. It was one of the greatest things that I was involved with.
Yeah.
So she brought him up, and I took his hand and let him feel my bow tie, my curly hair, and my mustache. And he had this smile on his face. He was just elated. And the lady talked to him through a code and his fingers, which I had never seen before. I mean,
Right.
you know, if you're deaf, you got to have the sign language. But that was amazing how she communicated with him.
So it was kind of Braille and everything too?
Yeah, well, however
However
I don't know
she
anything
did it, yeah. Wow.
That was one of the. My wife happened to witness that too, and it's just one of the biggest feelings we've ever had doing it. But
Absolutely.
I've done probably hundreds of shows and met thousands of people. I was on Russian CNN. I met Chinese people. People from all over the world would come to Hannibal for the Mark Twain stuff.
Yes.
And then they come, the Mormons come from Salt Lake City, and they go to Nauvoo, Illinois, where the Mormons started. And then they come to Hannibal for the Mark Twain stuff. And they always come up to me and they say, "What's the correct pronunciation of this state? Is it Missouri or
Missouri, yeah.
Yeah. I tell them, I says, well, if I married a couple Mormon ladies, it'd be pronounced misery.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. That's a Mark Twain quote.
I'm sure it
He
is.
had it in for everybody.
I know he did. And you know, I was born and raised in Missouri, and I'd say Missouri. You know, I don't think it matters, really. I think it's a southern
I think the
or...
country people,
Yeah, well, I was...
more the Missouri.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's who I was and am,
Yeah.
in my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact,
But I wrote had to write essays about Samuel Clemens, and been to Hannibal many times. And when I got out of the car the other day and met you, I'm like, who is this guy? You're fabulous, you really are.
Oh, thank you.
And we're so glad to have you in our community. And now that I know you're going to be at the 4th of July parade, I'm even more excited. I really am. Any last thing you'd like to say to anybody today before we sign off?
Well, I want to thank you for having us in your community. We just love Bella Vista. I mean, we were just, most people knew somebody here, had relatives here, or came. We found it was just dumb luck. And what a gift this was.
Yes, it's a beautiful place.
We've lived here like 9 years.
Yeah.
And the people are just fantastic here.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And you never know who you're going to meet.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, thank
That
you,
was
George.
dumb luck, I think, meeting you even.
Well, I don't even think. I think it was destiny. I don't believe in coincidence. There's a reason things happen.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thanks for having me.
You bet. Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
And we'll see you soon.
You betcha. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We're going to sign off for today and let Mark go home and work in his garden. See you next month.
Yeah.
Remember, you can see this program on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at various times. You may also view this program on YouTube by going to YouTube and Bella Vista TV. This has been a presentation of Bella Vista Community Television. Thank you for joining us.